today with another book review. Only this time it's going to be the greatest periodical about fish keeping ever written. Now this is an entirely subjective subject because it's going to include when you are ready to learn something really important about the hobby, and then it is presented to you in a form that you can readily absorb, and then that will be your greatest fish book ever written. But there are a lot of candidates for me that belong in this category. One of them is Breeding Aquarium Fishes. This series is wonderfully written. It tells stuff that nobody really even had a clue about when those books came out. Another one that fits this category is a loose leaf binder of exotic tropical fishes, a well-known book that was continued by sending out updates and pamphlets that kept it going for many years. It's a highly worthy entry into this category. Maybe it's the Button Barsh Bulletin. If you're a cichlid keeper and you're a member of the ACA, you know this magazine. It's probably one of the best magazines about cichlids there are. Maybe it's FAMA. Maybe it's Tropical Fish Hobbyist. Maybe it's Aquarium Fish. All of these are wonderful examples of ways to gather information about the hobby. And they're all valid. Maybe it's probably one of the greatest fish books ever written. And while some people don't really like the chromite TFH version, it's still William T. Hines' book, and his voice speaks through incredibly. Maybe it's this book, the most complete colored lexicon of cichlids. When this book came out, it was the holy grail for me. There are more pictures of more cichlids and more information gathered in one place than there ever was before. So, when I was in the hobby in the early 70s, I had finally gotten past the beginner stage, and I was actually beginning to learn things about how to keep my fish healthier, how to keep my tanks and my water in such a way that my fish could breed and survive and thrive. And so when you reach that point, when you reach that critical mass between starter, beginner, and actual fish keeper, anything that is presented to you in a way that you can absorb it best will end up being your greatest fish book, magazine, periodical, whatever. For me, in 1972, a quarterly periodical came out called American Digest International. This magazine, pamphlet, periodical, whatever you want to call it, had some of the most remarkable articles, helpful tips, pictures of new species, stories written by people that had managed to breed the fish. It was put out by Tetra, which was run by Rolik Banish at that time. And I'd like to read something that came from this early version of the book. It is a post by Dr. J. van Remhorst from Amsterdam, Holland. And he writes, Getting Rid of Hydras. An old, reliable method for ridding an aquarium of hydras is to use electricity. Using insulated wire, connect two pieces of brass, not copper, plate, to the two poles of a 4.5 volt flashlight battery. Arrange the battery so that the plates hang into the aquarium. Green shavings will begin to peel off one of the plates. White bubbles form on the other. Put a small glass jar under the one plate to collect the shavings, and be sure to observe the tank carefully while the plates are underwater. After a few minutes, the hydras begin to curl up. After an hour, they are dead. Snails are also eliminated during this procedure. Now remove the plates from the water and clean off any debris which may have settled on the tank floor. This method is very effective and never harms fishes. That's from 1972, Volume 1, Number 1. That's the kind of information that was perfect for me as a hobbyist in 1972. I waited every month for this book to come out. The last one I have is 54, issue 54, which is on chasserons, and it's pretty amazing the difference between the fish in this field that are available now and the fish that were just being discovered then. If you are interested, I happen to know that Mike at Mike's Wet Pets has almost a full copy of this. It's pretty hard to find. I even called Tetra, the company, and it's been sold so many times that they have no record of this magazine anymore. So, what I'm saying is that the most important, the greatest book, periodical for you is the one you find that manages to connect with you in such a way that you learn things that you need to know in this hobby. It could be Amazonas Magazine. It could be Heiko Blair's Biotope. It could be any of the many volumes by Ad Konings. It could be Dr. Paul Lozel's books. There are countless people out there that are doing yeoman's work in the hobby, and they are publishing all over the place. And one of them will end up being your greatest book about fish keeping. Good luck.